Hallo zusammen, I'm your Vlog Dave, and I have to admit it, I want, I need, I must do so, I love it. Ich bin stolz. I'm proud. Finally, German directors, script writers and actors and whoever is part of that team have gathered in order to make a high quality German TV series that is broadcasted internationally, that is critically acclaimed internationally, that is just awesome. And ironically, it has an English title, Dark. And honestly, I'd say, being German myself, I think that I and fellow Germans watch this series with slightly different eyes, with like a different perspective than, let's say, Americans or other foreigners would do. And because that is, I thought, you know what, you could actually talk about Dark from a rather German perspective. What is quite German about Dark? Let's find that out in today's video. Okay. Just take the fact that it's a German production with a German director duo with German actors playing in a fictitious German town as a bonus. Or not? That actually is one of the first things that came to my mind when I thought, you know, what could I talk about and what kind of makes sense and might be interesting for you guys to learn about, to find out about. Well, let's talk about that fictitious town. The fictitious German city in which everything takes place is called Winden. According to a political poster we can see in one of the episodes when the teens actually travel back to 1986, this town seems to be located in West Germany. There was West and East Germany, two Germanys pretty much, that just reunited in 1990, so not too long ago. But coming back to little sleepy Winden. There are one or two towns that are called Winden in Germany, by the way, but this one doesn't exist in reality. And honestly, as strange as it may sound, if there were a couple of different rules or basics on how to name pretty much every third German city, letting them end in the suffixes en or hausen would definitely be two of them. Of course, this doesn't apply to all cities, just think of Berlin for instance, but to many of them. Both small and big ones, by the way. For instance, you have Oberhausen, which is a quite big and well-known German city in Germany. Well, otherwise it wouldn't be a German city, great Dave. And you also have Echthausen, which is a very small, almost unknown little town in my area. So a town called Winden fits right in among cities like Dresden, München, which you know as Munich in English, Bremen and the like. Linguistically speaking, the term winden also exists as a rather self-reflexive verb, sich winden, to wind oneself around, implying sich drehen, to turn oneself around, so to speak. Windet und dreht sich nachts in seinem Bett. At night he winds and turns around in his bed. Twisting and turning back and forth in and between different time periods by various time travelers caught in a seemingly never-ending time and space spiral with lots of things happening. Yes, true, but at the end of the day, all of that takes place in an incarnation of Winden. The term itself could also be linked to an older, rather outdated German verb, which basically means it's windy, only as a verb. Basically something like the hypothetical phrase, it's winding, the wind is blowing, so to speak. Es windet sehr, it's very windy. In a way, that also applies to the mysterious portal area deep within the Windener Höhlen, the Winden Caves. For instance, each time Jonas or another traveler opens the Sic Mundus Creatus Est door. On an arguably quite abstract note, still wanted to mention it though, many characters need, have or want to überwinden, to bring oneself to do something at some point in the plot. Even if it's just talking to another specific person they didn't expect appearing or revealing secrets. Aspect number 2. Having just talked about those caves, they are located in the forest of Winden. And the forest is der Wald, singular, die Wälder, plural in German. Now you might be thinking, okay, why do you mention the forest? I mean, what does that have to do with Germans in Germany? Well, I'd honestly say that it wouldn't be a believable German town, or little city in this case, if it wasn't connected or like located nearby a forest of sorts. In fact, the Wald has been and still is a major part of Germany in many ways. Even though some of you might not have expected this, but geographically speaking, almost 1/3 of Germany exists as forest areas, making us the European country with the highest share in forest areas and subsequently also the one with the highest amount of wood. Jonas's home pretty much is an old German house with a high amount of wood and wooden walls as well. The whole Forstwirtschaft, the forestry or forest industry, really plays a major role in Germany and has done so for many decades. Many, especially medium-sized or smaller German cities or towns are surrounded by forest areas, and I personally can also relate to Winden in the sense of it basically being surrounded by a big forest. My hometown Arnsberg in the Sauerland area is pretty much surrounded by a huge historic forest, the Arnsberger Wald too. Fun fact or trivia, by the way, also sort of coming full circle here, Stefan Kampwirt, the actor playing Peter Doppler, is from Arnsberg. Conspiracy or not, I don't know. Forests can also be found in many old German Märchen, fairy tales and Mythen, myths as well. And to me, this series somehow is like a very modern, complex approach to a fairy tale, which is rooted in reality but expands way beyond. Located right at the forest's border, the town's hotel is called Waldhotel Winden, which translates to Forest Hotel Winden. Last but not least, one of the main families in the series. The first episode begins with the suicide of Michael, Jonas's dad, carries the family name Kahnwald, which also includes the noun Wald. It's not a fictitious German surname, but an extremely rare one, by the way. Only about 65 out of more than 80 million citizens in Germany have this family name. So yeah, as you can see, Germans really love their forests, their nature, and they like to preserve it, to spend time in it as often as they can, pretty much. And it plays a big role in our lives. However, all of this sort of leads us in a contrary way to aspect number 3, das AKW. Almost cynically, the big nuclear power station that seems to be a major location in the series is located right in the middle of the Winden forest, pretty much being surrounded by it from all sides. Many of Winden's citizens work there, including key figures like Helge Doppler, a very fascinating character if I may say so, or in literally a land before this time, Claudia Tiedemann, who later finds out about the secrets of the AKW and eventually the whole time travel thing. Now, I guess you're still wondering what that strange abbreviation is all about. AKW is the common German short form for das Atomkraftwerk, singular, die Atomkraftwerke, plural, the nuclear power station. To me, when I think about it, it really means something bilateral, like it's a bilateral thing. On the one hand, it's part of the town. Many people, many citizens of Winden work there. And, well, it's located in the forest of Winden that belongs to Winden. But on the other hand, it's sort of hidden in there. Like, it's in the middle of the forest, not really central, of course. It's sort of part of the town, but then again, not really, in a way. Really strange and interesting. After the horrendous Fukushima incident in 2011, the German government shut down 8 of these nuclear power stations in Germany permanently and also has decided to permanently shut down all other German AKWs up until the last one will end being active in late December of 2022. There has been and still is a huge debate about green, meaning sustainable and less damaging energy production going on, especially focusing on how to achieve it without risking to have way less electricity without the AKWs. So all of that is 200% the opposite of something fictitious. It's a real situation Germans are faced with these days. I personally really love this realistic and very present scenario that's woven into an elaborate time travel story, and I believe this mixture of reality and reliability of sorts, together with imagination and fiction, is something that makes Dark really stand out to me and other Germans in particular. The erection of that AKW took place in 1953, just a few years after World War II had ended. At that post-World War II point in time, Germany had achieved great and to some degree unexpected success in rebuilding and restructuring itself, which cumulated in the so-called Wirtschaftswunderzeit, the economical wonder times from the early 1950s onwards. The RKW in Winden is also supposed to be shut down in 2020, and that scenario also plays an important role in the multi-layered plot. And aspect number 4, 33 years later, we're in the year 1986, a quite fatal year of sorts. Culturally speaking though, during the 1980s, we Germans had our own massive German musical genre, if you will, the NDW. Yeah, another abbreviation. I'm quite sorry, but only quite sorry. We're talking about Die Neue Deutsche Welle, the new German wave, meaning the new German wave of hip, new music that is sort of synth-oriented, synth-pop, new wave kind of music with German lyrics. And, well, also dealing with German topics in a way. However, some massive NDW hits are more general in terms of their lyricism and what the lyrics are about. Throughout the show, we're mainly confronted with one particular German 80s pop classic, Irgendwie, Irgendwo, Irgendwann by Nena. I swear to you guys, this song is the absolute perfect fit for the major concept of this series. The song title translates to any place, anywhere, anytime, and it contains almost frighteningly fitting lines such as Im Sturz durch Zeit und Raum, erwacht aus einem Traum, falling through time and space, awakened from a dream, which directly references a couple of scenes we see throughout the series, especially regarding a few episodes that begin with Jonas dreaming and then waking up from that nightmarish dream. The song can also be heard in the bluish children's room cell where the music video plays on TV. It's almost used to indoctrinate to prepare Erik Obendorfer, the red-haired boy who's missing, and others like young Helge Doppler for their respective futures and journeys. I also talked and analyzed her smash hit 99 Luftballons, 99 Red Balloons in English, which was very successful internationally. And the chosen song, which also was a hit, simply is a natural fit. Almost as if it was composed for this series. On a side note, of course, Dark shares this at least partial 80s appeal with Stranger Things. But honestly, and I don't mean that in any way, shape or form bad or against Stranger Things, there is so much more going on and happening in Dark with all the multi-layered plots, entwined and interwoven relationships and whatnot. It's just different approaches which meet in certain singular aspects, I'd say. Very last but not very least, the whole concept of gaining and producing electrical power through the use of Atomenergie, atom energy, actually stems from Hans Geitel, who coined this term in 1899. In terms of the basic concept of die Zeitreise, the time travel, many ideas and thoughts about this theoretical scenario are based on the Allgemeine Relativitätstheorie and maybe even more so the Spezielle Relativitätstheorie, both created and thought out by the famous Albert Einstein. He published the Special Relativity Theory in 1905 and the General Theory of Relativity in 1916. This might, to some little degree maybe, also explain, at least to my knowledge, why the whole time travel situation in the series basically seems to have emerged in the early 1920s, yet not before this time period. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, because honestly, I also wanted to do this as sort of like an homage or a tribute to the series. And well, if you've noticed more things like that, yeah, just go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Also, make sure to check out my social media links and my support options in the video description down below, such as PayPal or Patreon. If you want to support this channel with those options, that is greatly appreciated, helps a lot. And well, feel free to share this video with others as well, if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching anyway, I'm your Vlog Dave, tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.